Claire Morrison stared at the envelope of cash on her kitchen table, feeling the weight of what she was about to do. $500 to ruin a blind date. It seemed like easy money when she was 3 months behind on rent, and her student loans were crushing her dreams of finishing her teaching degree. The woman who hired her had been coldly precise. His name is Daniel Warren. He'll be at Giovanni's restaurant at 7. Just make sure the date is a disaster. Be inappropriate, embarrassing, whatever it takes. I need him to give up on dating so he'll focus on what really matters. Claire had asked no questions. She couldn't afford to. But now, standing outside the elegant restaurant, she felt sick with guilt. Somewhere inside was a man whose evening she was about to destroy for money. Daniel Warren sat at the corner table, nervously adjusting his tie. At 37, the CEO of Warren Industries was more comfortable in boardrooms than restaurants. His 6-year-old daughter, Sophie, had been the one to convince him to try dating again. "You're lonely, Daddy," Sophie had said with the blunt honesty of children. "Grandma says you need someone to make you smile like you used to." His mother had arranged this blind date, insisting it was time to move forward 3 years after his wife's death. Daniel had agreed reluctantly, more to please Sophie than from any real hope. When Claire walked in, Daniel's first thought was that his mother had chosen well. The woman approaching his table had kind eyes and a gentle smile, though something in her expression seemed uncertain. "Daniel?" Claire extended her hand, her plan already crumbling. This wasn't some arrogant businessman she could easily sabotage. This was a man who stood politely, whose handshake was warm but not presumptuous, whose smile held a sadness that spoke of real loss. "It's wonderful to meet you," Daniel said genuinely. "My mother has told me almost nothing about you, which I suspect was strategic." Claire sat down, her rehearsed terrible behavior forgotten. "I should probably be honest with you about something." But before she could confess, Daniel's phone buzzed. He glanced at it apologetically. "I'm so sorry. My daughter, she's with my mother tonight, and Sophie gets nervous when I'm away." The text displayed on his screen. "Is the lady nice, Daddy? I hope she likes stories like you do." Something in Claire's heart cracked open. She thought of the envelope of cash, of the woman who had paid her to destroy this evening, and suddenly understood. This wasn't about Daniel at all. It was about someone trying to keep him isolated, perhaps to maintain control of his company or his life. "Tell her yes," Claire said softly. "Tell her the lady likes stories very much." Daniel's face lit up with surprise and relief. As he texted his daughter, Claire made a decision that would cost her $500 she desperately needed, but would save something far more valuable. Over dinner, their conversation flowed naturally. Daniel spoke about Sophie, about rebuilding his life as a single father, about the loneliness of success without someone to share it with. Claire shared her struggles to finish her degree while working 3 jobs, her dream of teaching children who needed advocates. "Sophie's teacher is wonderful," Daniel said thoughtfully. "She says the best teachers are the ones who remember what it feels like to struggle." Hours passed like minutes. When the restaurant began closing, they moved to a nearby coffee shop, unwilling to let the evening end. It was nearly midnight when Daniel finally walked Claire to her car. "I haven't talked like this with anyone since my wife died," Daniel admitted. "Thank you for tonight." Claire knew she should tell him the truth, but she couldn't bear to spoil this perfect evening. "Can I see you again?" she asked instead. "I'd like that very much," Daniel said, and meant it completely. The next morning, Claire returned the envelope to the woman who had hired her, sliding it across the table untouched. "I couldn't do it," Claire said simply. "Whatever your reasons, they're not worth hurting a good man and his daughter." The woman's face hardened. "You don't understand what's at stake." "No," Claire interrupted gently. "You don't understand. That man in there, he's not a business asset or a chess piece. He's a father trying to build a life for his child. And if you cared about him at all, you'd want him to be happy." 2 months later, Claire sat in Daniel's living room, reading bedtime stories to Sophie while Daniel finished some work in his study. The little girl had accepted her into their lives with the easy trust of children who recognize genuine love. "Claire?" Sophie whispered as she was drifting off to sleep. "Are you going to stay?" Claire brushed the hair from Sophie's forehead, thinking of the moment she had chosen honesty over money, love over deception. If your daddy will have me, sweetheart, I'm not going anywhere. In the doorway, Daniel stood watching, his heart full in ways he'd thought impossible after loss. Later, after Sophie was asleep, Claire finally told him the truth about their first meeting. About the woman who had hired her. About the choice she had made. Daniel listened quietly, then took her hands in his. My business partner, he said with sudden understanding. She's been trying to keep me isolated. Afraid I'd make changes she couldn't control if I found happiness outside work. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, Claire said. You told me in the only way that mattered, Daniel replied. By choosing what was right over what was easy. That's who you are, Claire. That's why I love you. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with plans that go wonderfully wrong. When someone chooses compassion over cash and discovers that the only thing worth more than money is a heart that knows how to cherish what truly matters. Real love isn't found by following someone else's script. It's discovered in the moment we choose authenticity over advantage and find that honesty opens doors we never knew existed.